Hey, what's up, Unbroken Nation? One of the difficult parts about taking ownership over these things is people conflate this idea of ownership with culpability. And the bad things that happen to us in childhood are not our fault and they're not our responsibility. I want to be very, very clear about that. If you had abusive parents, that is not on you. However, the choices and the decisions that you make today, whether you like to admit it or not, are informed by the experiences that you had in childhood, meaning that everything that we do, causation and correlation, while life is linear in terms of a start to finish, all of the choices and the decisions that we make, they kind of bounce up and down over time. Because you probably have had some like really, really good on point days where you're crushing it. You probably had some really, really bad days where it's shitty and you can't seem to do anything that you want to do. Well, you have to understand that so much of that is tied into the narrative of the belief that we have about who we are and the value that we have in the world. So, the deeper that you go into learning about the impact of trauma, the more that you start to understand the causation and correlation, how some of those experiences and some of those events that we had in our childhood now bend and shape us. Now, they don't define us. So, let's be very clear, define us. So, let's be very clear about that. We are not the things that happen to us. We are not even our emotions. That's one of the things that you have to start to wrap your head around when you are building your identity. Because if you were your emotions, then you would be joy and laughter, but you'd also be shame and guilt. Instead, what you are is just this being moving through life, having a human experience. And if you're anything like me, then you probably have come to realize that you don't really know what you're doing. Like, I have no idea what I'm doing every single day. Neither does anyone else. And anyone who tells you that they do is a liar, because I don't know about you, but I did not get a rule book when I came into this life. I'm simply figuring it out as I go. And that held true of figuring out and deciphering my identity. So at 25 years old, having a rock bottom moment, I started to move forward and towards this idea of the person that I thought I could be. Now, it took a couple of years for it to even start to really solidify, because at 27, I realized I have no confidence. I don't believe in myself at all. And the thing that I needed to do was start to do things that moved me towards the person I thought I was going to be, by building confidence around an identity that I created. I said to myself, who do I want to be? What does this version of myself look like? How do they show up in the world? What are their values? What are their wants, their needs, their interests, their boundaries? What are all the things that they need, want, and desire in the world? And so when you start to wrap your head around that, you can reverse engineer the actions and the steps that you take on a daily basis to move towards being that person, while simultaneously recognizing and again understanding that you've been impacted by your past and it is informing the choices and the decisions that you make. Then you must be able to not only heal, but overcome those things in order to fully close the gap of where you are to where you want to be.